Workham Thesity Zenbasai played in goal for Man City. This is why they have signed Gianluigi Donnarumma, and sold Ederson. Pepguadior has made a major change in goal for Manchester City, and former Blues keeper Nicky Weaver analyzed the moves for the MEN. So said Pepguadior on the day the summer transfer window opened in the Premier League. Either Guardiola was pulling the wool over our eyes, or the goalkeeping situation at Manchester City has developed rapidly and unexpectedly over the previous 3 months. Because while Stefan Ortega remains at the club for now, the reality is that all 3 goalkeeping positions have changed over the summer. First, Scott Carson left to be replaced by Marcus Bettinelli. Then, City were forced into action on James Trafford after Newcastle had a bid accepted by Burnley. Read more. Man City could be without 10 players for Manchester United derby. Read more. Man City injuries add to Pep Guardiola concerns after worrying updates that looked to be that, until the interest in Ederson developed and Gianluigi Donnarumma unexpectedly appeared on the market. When Manchester United visit the Etihad next weekend, it won't be Ederson and Ortega in the squad, but Donnarumma and Trafford. And not only is that a major shakeup of personnel, but it's also a significant change in style. Out goes Ederson after 8 years in which he almost redefined the position in the Premier League. And in comes Donnarumma, who might just be the last of the traditional goalkeepers, but who saving the ball carries much more weight than passing it. If you wanted a goalkeeper to save a shot for you, then you would turn to the Italian. But for City under Guardiola, it has never been that simple. He's almost changed the face of goalkeeping. He was one of the first goalkeepers who really put the ball at risk, Nicky Weaver tells the Manchester Evening News of Ederson. Pep Guardiola told Manuel Akanji to leave Manchester City in the summer transfer window, or face sitting in the stands. Akanji secured a deadline day move to Inter Milan after being bluntly told by Guardiola what his fate would be otherwise. The Switzerland international had been a key player for City since joining from Borussia Dortmund in the summer of 2022. He helped Guardiola's side win 7 trophies in 3 years and made 40 appearances last season. However, it was made clear to him this summer that he had dropped behind Ruben Dias, John Stones, Josko Gvardiol, Nathan Ake, and Pepguadior in the centre-back pecking order. The 30-year-old was linked with a move to Crystal Palace and Galatasaray, before eventually sealing a season-long loan to Inter, which contains a £13 million purchase option that could become an obligation next year. Also, because I didn't meet any of my new teammates in Milan on Monday, as everything happened so quickly and there was no training. My family and I have felt very comfortable in Manchester, and we will definitely miss life there. The fact is, I'm on loan at Inter, so theoretically a return to Manchester is possible. However, the reality is different, and he added, "Unfortunately, I haven't been able to say goodbye to City yet, but I definitely want to do that with a team meal, which isn't so easy due to the schedule, but it's important to me that I can say goodbye and start again." As the dust settles on one of the Premier League's busiest transfer windows, one deal that never went ahead was Calvin Phillips' Manchester City exit. This was not a case of a deal falling through or collapsing at the last minute, but rather a deal that never existed in the first place. Phillips has struggled since his high-profile £42 million transfer from Leeds, suffering untimely injuries and making just 31 appearances. He has not featured competitively for City since 2023, going out on loan to West Ham and Ipswich in the last 2 seasons. Guardiola said he was delighted to have Phillips after he finally recovered from shoulder surgery to make his City debut 6 months after signing, adding, "I think he's an intelligent player and has an incredible work ethic in the training sessions." Over a year later, when Phillips had left for West Ham on loan, and Phillips had publicly opened up on the impact of the comments, Guardiola said, "I'm sorry. I do apologize to him. I'm so sorry Calvin Phillips still has 3 years left on Manchester City's contract, but no way back under Pep Guardiola." Only halfway through a 6-year contract at the Etihad Stadium, Pep Guardiola has made it clear that he sees no way for Calvin Phillips to feature in his midfield. More than once in the last 2 seasons, Guardiola has said he struggles to see Phillips playing in his system. In 2023, he said, "I visualize the team and things. not featured competitively for City since 2023, going out on loan to West Ham and Ipswich in the last 2 seasons. Podcast now on 2832 Urawa Reds, VAU Manchester City FC, semi-final, FIFA Club World Cup Saudi Arabia, 2023 photo, by Robbie J. Barrett, AMA/Getty Images. Pep Guardiola has made it clear that he does not see a place for Phillips in his midfield, and has given the midfielder's squad number away this summer to new signing Tijani Reinders. Here, PBR Football look at what has gone so badly wrong. Pep Guardiola said he was delighted to sign Calvin Phillips, but later had to apologize to the Manchester City midfielder. Man City sporting director Cheeky Bagiristane hailed Calvin Phillips as a formidable talent, while Pep Guardiola hailed Phillips' time at Leeds under Marcelo Bielsa. Guardiola said he was delighted to have Phillips after he finally recovered from shoulder surgery to make his City debut 6 months after signing, adding, "I think he's an intelligent player and has an incredible work ethic in the training sessions." FC Internazionale v Manchester City FC, UEFA Champions League Final 2022/23 photo by Jonathan Moscroft/Getty Images. However, Guardiola also had to apologize to Phillips for telling a press conference the midfielder was overweight on his return back from representing England at the 2022 World Cup. "When he will be ready, he will play," Guardiola said in December 2022. "We need him. We need him a lot." Over a year later, when Phillips had left for West Ham on loan, when Phillips had publicly opened up on the impact of the comments, Guardiola said, "I'm sorry. I do apologize to him. I'm so sorry Calvin Phillips still has 3 years left on Manchester City contract, but no way back under Pep Guardiola." Only halfway through a 6-year contract at the Etihad Stadium, Pep Guardiola has made it clear that he sees no way for Calvin Phillips to feature in his midfield. More than once in the last 2 seasons, Guardiola has said he struggles to see Phillips playing in his system. In 2023, he said, "I visualize the team and things. I struggle a little bit to see him, that's all. It's not because I am not pleased. I feel so sorry for him." Calvin Phillips' statistics at Manchester City, source Transfermarkt. Appearances, 31 starts, 6 substitute appearances, 25, unused substitute, 45, total minutes played, 914 goals, 1 assist, 0. Last summer, Guardiola said Phillips'